Okay, hello. Smoke rises behind you. The sun rises in the east, high in the clear sky. Orange banners surround you. Flies have not yet begun to attend to the bodies. You can hear voices to the west. The Flaming Fist Archer fire team sounds like they are regrouping. You hear a voice distantly say, "Prep that counterspell." You have a prisoner chained, the shine of his bald head gleaming with sweat. He cannot move yet, but his eyes can, and he looks down at his right hip where his sword is next to where his hands have been firmly chained by Brenner. Lapalezi has only the faculties for respiration and eye movements as Ada concentrates on holding him for a few more moments. No bird songs this morning. No activity in the markets. You can hear metal boots on flagstones. You hear another voice far away saying, "On me!" You occupy a peculiar little corner of realm space where people still fight over banners and who can call a river theirs. You have indicated that you wish to hurry through the streets to the Temple of the Radiant Heart. You head east with your captive. One moment. With Lapalezi as your captive, you should find that any of you are able to control him. You arrive here at West Rose Boulevard. There are 3 Flaming Fist guards standing outside the gates. On the inside, it seems that there is a prison break occurring. Once word of the prisoner executions was out, it seems that the teeming horde inside would not go quietly. The guards look nervous. One of them calls out to your captive. "Major, what are your orders? Someone broke the locks inside. The prisoners are free."
Turner just looks back to Yora. Well, Major?
Lapalezi blinks.
Can't hold them for much longer. Think of something.
If the locks are broken, let them go.
The guards look between each other. Manip, what news? What's burning? Another guard. Go ahead.
Westgate is burning.
You can notice in the mass of civilians fleeing and cowering, Roger Dale seeking to blend in as he studies the scene.
So, when Taldred was looting for coins earlier, can we say he took one of the socks from the tent so he can stuff it in Lapalezi's mouth?
He's already gagged.
Is he? Did we gag him?
We
I
did.
We
missed that. Okay, did we take his weapons?
We did not.
Taldred would take his sword then away from him.
You take his sword. One moment. His sword hums with dark energy. The guards look extremely anxious. Arms reach through the iron gate. One of the guards turns around and says, "Heat metal." He surges with power from the shadow weave and welds the gate shut, searing the arms that snake through the iron. The prisoners are stuck inside where it seems that they have overrun the courtyard. One of the guards looks Major Lapalezi in the eye and says again, "Major?" You see several inmates clambering up on the thatched roofs inside, looking for a good spot to jump. A woman in rags with scabby balls for her knees puts her weight through a weak section of roof and hollers as she falls through.
This is definitely getting out of hand.
Euros, maybe you should tell them to run.
Yeah, probably for the best. I will move forward and I will tell the 3 guards at the gate that have already heated the metal. You've done what you could. Fall back.
Roll persuasion at advantage. Fall back to where?
Back to the main encampment on the east.
They look between each other. If you say so, Manip. And they form a quick rank and start walking east. Roger Dale walks up to you, Euros. He says, "Is subtlety too much to ask? I tried to help you." Sorry, 1 second. Lots of Discord issues for the past 24 hours. I don't think it's me. I think it's Discord. I've been knowing other people with these problems. Anyway, regardless, Roger Dale walks up to Euros and says, "Is subtlety too much to ask? I tried to help you. This is a little bit beyond my control at this point. Come, let's go to the temple with haste."
Yes, I agree. There's no controlling a mass of prisoners that were falsely imprisoned to begin with.
Are all of you ready to venture east to the Temple of the Radiant Heart?
Are we just leaving the prisoners in this welded section?
They'll figure it out.
Wait, isn't it on fire?
I can cool. He heated the metal to weld it shut.
No, people are dying.
Yeah, we're gonna break.
We're gonna
we're
heat
not gonna
metal.
Fry in here.
Yes.
Just
We're gonna
say,
keep
am I
metal.
going to transgress if I say that my character doesn't care if the peasants starve? But yeah.
I was just gonna say I can just quickly unheat the metal before in a move, and at least they won't hurt themselves in the bars.
That doesn't change the fact that people are sick. There's fire. There's nobody beating or like looking after the prisoners, and they're in some kind of frenzied array in a very small space where people are falling and trampling each other. We cannot leave them here. This is like leaving a zoo with no keepers.
Have the Flaming Fire Swords, after being indicated to leave to the east, have they left yet, or are they on the way out?
They are on the way out there working to egress per Euros' suggestion. They are following Euros' lead.
Who has the keys? Euros, tell them to give you the keys.
Before they fully leave, I will shout to them, do you have the keys for this gate?
The Warcaster calls over his shoulder to you, "The gate's ruined!" And you can see that he has, in fact, welded it shut. It is, at this point, solid pieces of iron, and dripping bits of molten metal are falling with a sizzle onto the ground.
Taldred says, "Brenner, we gotta get them out of there."
I agree.
Taldred runs up to the door. Does it look like there's any way to unseat the door, to force it open?
Why don't you just reheat the metal and melt the lock so it pops open?
Because I can't do that.
I can. I'll do that.
Gasmir,
Yes.
please hold the prisoner. I'm struggling to maintain control of him.
Very well. Do hurry.
As Brenner and Taldred approach the gate, Brenner will bark out towards the people closest to it. "Stand down. We'll get you out of it."
They gibber in response. One of them nonsensically says to you, "No, get us out of here! Oi, get us out! Break down the door, it's burning in here!" Taldred, you can see... Go ahead, sorry.
I was going. This is just an aside. Do we know that Yoros is immune to fire now? Has that been made obvious? I don't think so, right?
Perhaps Euros... Forget I said anything.
I don't think it's come up.
I don't know.
Okay.
So nothing gold will cast heat and metal, and I think Taldred probably is the one who suggested trying to unseat the lock and.
Right. Well, let's heat it. Would it be easier to move the gate?
Perhaps. Yes,
Taldred tries, because I have the crown that makes me resistant to fire, so he thinks he's the person who's most suited to do this. So he grabs it and tries to move it.
And Brenner will follow suit.
Why don't you... Brenner, it sounds like you're assisting Taldred. Taldred, give me a strength saving throw at advantage.
Fuck. Okay.
You might want to do that in revert.
I'm not the one making these suggestions. It's certainly with the way that you phrased it.
It is.
Yeah,
Taldred
Taldred
walked up.
Has to be the one who rolls it because he acted first.
I agree.
So one of those would be an 18.
You take your gauntleted hands and grab the hot rolled iron that forms the heavy bars. You pull, and your strength, with Brenner's assistance, is enough to wrest this thing off of its hinges. You take 7 fire damage, not halved yet.
Okay. So does that come out to 4 or 3 to you?
3. Your hands sear through the metal of your armor as you tug and pull this thing off of its hinges. Instantly, a mass of prisoners swarms forth. People clad in rags, some naked, many coughing from a combination of the black smoke that billows from the buildings inside of the prison, as well as, you fear, the jail fever that must have been spreading through the crowded conditions in there.
Among the crowd, are there the 2 elvish prisoners that Nothing Gold saw last?
No, you do not see them.
Okay, there were people who were, she'll say this out loud, there are people who are still sealed in cells inside the prison.
Joris and Brenner, a mass of prisoners, gibbering, comes past you, pushing around you. First a dozen, then a dozen more. They push out into the street. Roger Dale hears you, Nothing Gold. You are right next to him. He puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "There is no time. We have to go now."
Then take the rest of them and I'll go in.
What do these prisoners matter to you? Do you not see? He sighs and looks eastward. Do you have any idea how many Flaming Fist troops are going to descend on this in mere minutes?
Quite deft fingers, Mr. Dale. Perhaps you could hurry this along by helping her instead of arguing.
How do you think the prisoners got free in the first place?
Well, Roger, it looks like you missed a few.
Missed a few? He says this as someone reaches on his cloak to see if it's loose and then keeps running. Missed a few? I think there's quite a few loose now. This was not my intention.
How are you trying to do?
How does this help? He puts his head in his hands. I can see that working together with a lot of you is going to be even worse than I anticipated.
Oh, well, you do want that crane, don't you?
Crane?
I'm just saying, there's still use of us that you can make if we continue to work together. I have certain connections to the Cather Industries.
He pauses to consider. Enough about that. Hold on one second. Why do you have... Excuse me. He points toward Major Lapalese. What the fuck are you doing with him?
Oh, come on, Roger. Even for you, I think you can put one and one together here.
I think that you can, most of you can go bring him to the temple. I don't know how long you can continue to hold him, but...
I'm gonna stroll about this time, push it through the crowd. If we can cut this conversation short, the crowd is moving east, and I think we should move with them.
I would like to drop my hold person on Lapalese and cast invisibility on him.
You do so. You drop your concentration of the hold person spell. You cast the invisibility spell. He is now perfectly invisible.
Let's get fucking moving.
Lissa Gastmere, your prisoner immediately starts writhing and wriggling. There is now an invisible person attached to chains you cannot see on the other end of your left arm. You are holding something you cannot see. You hear a disembodied voice call out, "Killed him! Fist to me!"
Isn't he gagged?
I need...
Gagged.
He is a bit. He is calling this out, mumbling. You used the sock, right? Is that correct? This is not exactly
The gag that Kamar had.
Oh. He is wriggling against this then. He is calling out, barely able to enunciate syllables. He's trying to get the words out, but struggles.
Gasmir will take the chain and loop it around her arm once and grip it like this, and then just start dragging.
What is your strength? Just your strength score.
That's a good question. Hang on.
That barbarian muscle.
16, so +3.
Noted.
If it seems like he's beginning to get somewhere, I will get mad about that. Which technically gives me advantage on any strength-based things.
Every time he pulls against the chain, you feel rage welling within you, Gastmere. Roger looks increasingly agitated by all of this. Okay, so now we have an invisible Major of the Fist in our possession for some unknown reason. Is there any way that we could... Why don't we just slit his throat and be done with it?
He owns too many. He owns too many.
Is the blood invisible? Is anybody going to see his brains splatter across this wall when I smash him into it?
Ada strains with the effort of having to maintain concentration through bedlam and idiocy for the last hour. Roger, shut up. Let's just go.
He gestures to the prison. A few stragglers are still streaming through the broken gate, coughing as they go. I'm not going in there. There's no point. Is this really what we're going to do? Free prisoners from the county jail?
Nothing, Gold. You're on top of it, right?
She's already gone. She's already slipped through the gate while everybody was talking and made her way around the buildings to where she thought she saw the others.
I have confidence in her friend. I think we should go.
Taldred would have chased after her.
Oh, okay.
The rest of us, we need to move.
Yoris is already headed east.
Enough tarrying.
We split the party. If you are going north into the jail, please put yourself inside the jail walls. If you are going east with Roger Dale, please put yourself on the eastern side with the crowds. For the group flying the flag of Taldred Talton. Taldred, can you roll initiative? For the group flying the flag of Brenner Oswick. Brenner, can you roll initiative?
10.
6.
There is a massive procession heading east here. Prisoners, civilians fleeing the prisoners, the flame and the smoke. Flaming Fist operatives who have been convinced by Yoros that discretion is the better part of valor today. And here, going back into this prison, we have Taldred Talton and Nothing Gold. One moment. Taldred, you stride through the gate that you just ripped down with your bare hands. Not a bad showing, sport. You are inside of the walls of the Arabel County Jail. Nothing Gold. You arrive at a closed door. From inside, you can see something moving, but it seems like this door has been barred shut. Roll perception.
Nine.
You think there's something moving inside there. The action is with both of you.
Explain the scene specifically that Taldred sees as he steps through this gate.
I'd love to. There are 4 squat buildings here, and you get the impression that the doors on all of the outer buildings are meant to be closed. On the southeastern building, this is a large building that you sense is a general prison block. It seems that the door on the outside seems to have been picked. It swings open on its hinges. There are still prisoners crawling out, going down the stairs. You get the impression, Taldred, that prisoners must have been stored very densely inside of there. There are a number of people in various states of physical disrepair attempting to make amends with the sunlight they may have not seen in several weeks, months, years.
Explain the fire situation to me.
There is, in the building directly north of you, to the southeast building. This looks to you like a crew barracks. It seems like someone, potentially a prisoner, has, you were just assuming that, has put something inside the fireplace there. It seems like there is far more smoke coming off of this building than the chimney is equipped to handle. You think that perhaps on the way out, someone thought it necessary to start a conflagration.
That gives Taldred pause for a moment. I'm trying to think how far behind. Yeah, I feel like he would have followed close enough to NG that he would have seen the path she took, and he would take a similar path.
If he stopped, she would call back. That's the guards' quarters, where the smoke is coming from.
Okay. He would move past that then.
This door is blocked. Is it locked, or like somebody on the other side of it has barricaded it?
You'd have to try the door.
She tries the door.
It doesn't move an inch. You can turn the knob, but you get the impression that it's probably barred, is you can't get it to move at all. You push, you're not sure, is this a pull, is this a push? Nothing you can do can get it to move, as if it's been nailed shut or something like that. We will revisit the lot of you in a moment. As the rest of you walk through the streets, you have a sense that the Fist must be aware that something has happened. The civilians streaming through the streets from the botched execution at the West Gate create an atmosphere of terror. Arriving at the temple, your footsteps echo against the high ceilings. The potted plants have become brown, crunchy leaves. Paul Arthrade walks toward you with purpose. He strides up to the lot of you. Where's Ruthenberg? Why do you have... He can sense something invisible. You perhaps understand that this Knight of Helm can see things that you cannot. He says, why do you have him? Where the fuck is Samantha? What did you all do?
We're keeping the last city of Arabel free. Sorry, the last city.
Cormier.
Thank you, Cormier. The last free city of Cormier. Free.
Did you talk to Samantha? Why are your words coming from... Why are her words coming from your mouth?
We had a
Afraid
hard
we
time.
haven't seen her.
We had a hard time following her, accosted by Flaming Fist enforcers and guards.
Gasmir, what did you say?
We haven't seen her. Why do you think she's up to something?
I have a terrible feeling that she's heading south on the road. I already told that one. He points directly at Ada. What did you do? I asked you to do one simple thing for us. Just stop her. Talk to her. You couldn't do that? Where is she?
We were being shackled by the Fist, and you sat here. Of course I couldn't. You saw us leave under duress.
What are we going to do with this major that you have? You know that the Flaming Fist can communicate via the message spell, right? He's probably calling reinforcements to us right here, right now.
I don't have time to get yelled at by you. And I'm going to just continue to walk forward.
Do you have time to get yelled at by me? Walt Forbes grins at you.
Yell
Are
away.
you actually going to yell? Carry
What?
on. I wish to see this.
What are we going to do? I had something relatively mundane for you, but now I see that we are, shall we say, past that?
Yes, things may have escalated a touch.
They certainly have. Speaking of escalation, let's cut back to the temple. Sorry, not the temple, the jail. You find yourselves outside of a door that will not cooperate. You hear prisoners behind you calling out, "Where's the food?"
Hal, do you speak Elvish?
I do not.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go under this door, or rather, I can. However, I won't be able to come back out.
What are you talking about?
I can shift into a small form that can get under this door.
Could you turn into like a bear and just rip the door off?
Yes?
I feel like that'd be the smarter play. You don't know what it's like on the other side of that door.
Alright. She will shift into haven't looked at this at all. A brown bear.
You call something distant and ursine. You become a brown bear. Why don't you look up a stat sheet for that brown bear, and we'll come back to you in one moment because we will need those stats. Back at the temple, Forbes cradles his temple. So, what are we going to do? This all seems rather imposing. I was not expecting you to bring a major of the fist back to me.
Put my hand on my head.
It's the most secure place that we have. Speaking of which, we should probably bar the door.
Paul and Skylar look at each other. They gesture at the giant 20-foot tall archway that constitutes a door here.
Sorry, across the table, there are actually not doors in the front of the thing? I thought we closed
Not-
them prior.
Not here. No, there are
No.
there are no. This is a non-doored entrance.
We'll scratch that again.
Seems like an oversight.
And we take him downstairs. Or to your office, either or.
Or we get out of here if that's what you really want.
That may be what you really want. I can't imagine that staying here with him is a necessarily good idea.
Nothing that happened today was a good idea. But it happened and here we are.
Paul and Skylar look between each other. We should cut his fucking throat. Do you not understand? He can summon people with his mind. Do you not get it?
I get it. Are you not a paladin of Helm? You want to cut an unarmed man's throat? What the fuck is wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you bring him here under Helm's eyes? How is this
Care
our
because
problem?
it's your- You only care because it's your problem. You want to slit
Is-
an innocent man's throat because it's your problem.
Innocent? And also, is self-preservation really quite so detestable, Ada Worthware? Is that really where you're going to finally make your moral stand?
I'm sorry. You need to back down right now.
If you don't do something about this, the fist is going to converge on this location.
I think our interests are aligned. Now let's talk. He's here, we're here. We're open to ideas. Stop fucking berating me. Get out of your own ass and let's talk about it.
If you want to talk about it, where is that cleric you keep with you? How about he cast Zone of Truth for once? How about any of you use your powers for good instead of evil or your own personal ambitions?
Oh, our power's for good, like slitting his throat. Yes. Stop sermoning me, and let's start talking logistics. Otherwise, I don't want to hear a fucking word out of your mouth.
What's your proposal?
I am open to suggestions. We ran through the streets. There's a prison break happening. There's a fire at the west gate. I think the Fist have bigger fish to fry right now. Maybe we can negate the message spell. I have no qualms about not staying here. Let's talk logistics. I'm unwilling to slit an unarmed man's throat. Period. And you should feel the same.
I felt that way once, Forbes says. Let's cut back to our Baron Cleric.
The
Okay.
perfect half of the movie we didn't know we needed.
That's good. So I looked it up. Her via the rules of challenge rating, she cannot do a there. So I think she does try, and she gets maybe a quarter of the way there, and then settles back out of the shape and says, "No, I can't. I'm not as good at this as I used to be." 1 second, and she shifts instead into one of the Flaming Fist horses.
That might work. Taldra is going to cast Enhance Ability at 3rd level on both of them, so they both have advantage on strength checks.
She will use her hooves to strike at the door.
God, there is something about a horse trying to break out of a burning building that is
I'm literally
all
writing
too...
the same thing.
I know, right?
Not again.
Not again.
Not again.
You smash against this wooden door. As a horse, you weigh over a ton. Your massive weight, and especially being able to direct that through the relatively small surface area of your hooves, allows you to batter and break this wooden door. You almost instantly crush through it, and you can see that this door must have been barred from the far side. Sitting there is a single person. It's Avery's aide. He looks up at something he had never fathomed. A horse, clad in Flaming Fist livery, breaking down this door.
Taldred looks inside and goes, "What the fuck are you doing in here?
Who the fuck are you?
The jail is on fire. Get out of here."
Roll. What's your approach? Is it let me help you or get the fuck out or I'll get you out?
It's it's definitely not. God, it's not let me help you.
It's like
Necessarily.
authoritative, right?
It's more like, what are you doing, moron? Why are you here? You're going to burn to death. That's what he's going for.
So this building, to be clear, this building that you are getting into is not on fire.
Yet.
Agreed. Yes, just making sure that we're on the same page. Okay. Roll. Let's call it intimidation. I think especially, and do it at advantage.
Okay.
I think that implicitly you're being helped by Horse and Gold.
Not good. It's an 11.
Even with the advantage?
Correct, yes.
You lock eyes with this man and tell him essentially to save himself before he burns to a crisp, as many of his compatriots have. Unfortunately, you realize that he might be inured to fire, and this threat falls upon deaf ears. He says, "Keep your wits about you or I'll call the majors."
They're not here. The prisoners escaped. They're loose. Everything's going to shit. They're fleeing. You need to go too.
Is that my horse?
No. That's not your horse.
She knickers.
There are 2 prisoners in this room. While this has been going on, they're having a conversation with each other. Neither of you speak Elvish. I'm confident of this, right?
Nope.
Neither of you understands the quiet, melodious words that they are using on each other. Avery's aide throws up his hands, quite literally. Both of you roll Arcana.
Three.
14.
Taldred. He sure does look frustrated. Nothing gold. He just cast a spell using the Shadow Weave. Checking back in at the Temple of the Radiant Heart, where logistics are to be discussed. Ada, I believe you were about to make a point.
Yes. I don't remember what my point was, but these guys are assholes. I'm not going to cut his throat, no matter how much you yell at me. I don't care.
Would you like me to do it for you?
No.
Look, if I can make a point here, this message spell they are so vehemently against, he can't cast it right now. He can't move his hand and he can't whisper. Those are the 2 things you have to do to get it to work. Why do you think I mumble under my breath all the time?
This was your idea at this point, Ada. What was the furthered end? Are we to beat information out of him? Hold him as hostage for money?
I'm not interested in... I was only not interested in killing an unarmed man. That's all I was not interested in. We can set him free, we can imprison him, We can question him. I don't care.
Lepalizzi.
Seems counterproductive to set him loose at this point. I think we should hang on to him.
This city got invaded by a hostile force, bearing the Shadow Weave, holding cudgels and knives to our throats, demanding their will. Our big grievance with them is with no due process. They sought out to murder virtually everybody in the city that they deemed unpleasant, and tortured them in the process. I don't want to be them. The end. I don't care what we do with Lepalizzi, I'm just not willing to kill an armed man, and that shouldn't be contentious in this fucking room. Is this not a Temple of Helm? What are we fighting for here?
I wasn't arguing on trying to kill him. What I'm asking is, do we jail him? Do we set him free? Which of the two?
I like talking to him and jailing him, if necessary. But
there
for once, I would like to have a conversation where he doesn't have his boot on my throat.
Do you have a secure place underground for him? We haven't perused every building below.
We have your accommodations here. Should you wish to share a room or have one of yours be a makeshift prison cell,
First, I'd like to talk to the man.
as you wish. I think I would have some questions for him as well.
Wonderful. Can we
Before you
use your office for now, just to talk?
Take him underground.
Okay, we'll do that. And listen, if there's any fuzzy business, I can counterspell this spell.
So, before you do anything, make sure you remove, if he even has one on him, this crystal that Avery had.
I'll drop the invisible. Let's bring him inside.
Take him underground first before you do anything.
I'm gonna shoot an icy glance at the paladins.
The paladins shoot an icy glance back at you. Paul calls out to you. I asked you to do one simple thing. Stop somebody. Just hold up your hand and say stop. Instead, you come back with a high-value hostage and expect it to be our problem.
Arthur,
You're mad at me for you not doing your own dirty work. That's what you're mad at.
Look, if you're gonna be mad at anybody, be mad at me. I'm the one that I didn't order the fists to go after her.
I can find Samantha. If it proves to be a problem, we can find her. I understand it's an issue, but we were taken under duress by the Flaming Fist out of here. You were here. You saw it. Why didn't you go after her? They weren't here. You just sat here and waited for us to come back so you could bicker at me. Because you're afraid of her. I understand.
I don't understand the issue. What is Miss Ruthenberg going to do? Please do elaborate.
She's apparently gonna come back with a different shade of colored armor.
Oh, how frightening.
I know.
She's going to come back with an army at her back. She's going to come back.
You already have an army here.
She's
No
making
problem.
an army? There's now 3 of us. I would be inclined to agree. I would say that our personnel is looking a bit tattered these days.
We can talk to her. We can find her. That's not the most pressing issue right here. I understand this is a personal issue for you. But as you can tell, we have a few things going on right now that are probably higher on our priority list.
It's going to be a bit of an issue for you as well, if Paul was right. I fear to tell you that if she gets to Suzail, Paul thinks she's going to offer terms to the Zent.
I didn't know that.
Do you understand what she knows? She...
Being more explicit in the details generally helps the decision-making process. You just said she was coming back with purple armor. You didn't mention any of this.
Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
You sense that Forbes is starting to lose his patience. She is going to Suzail to attempt to offer terms to the Zentarim. The terms she is going to offer probably involve you.
Why didn't you go after her? You saw that we were taken away at sword point.
You were not at sword point. That seems like a bit of an exaggeration. We thought, he looks at Paul. We thought that this task of just stop her and talk to her was well within your repertoire.
Oh my god. Line 2. Let's talk to him. We'll find her. We are basically doing what she wants anyway.
Go ahead,
For
Juris.
better or worse, she wanted the fist out of here.
And how many flaming fists are going to show up now? Do you
Well-
not see that?
Okay. There's a riot at the prison, and there's a fire at the west gate. I think they have more pressing concerns. The only two people who cared about us, we have either neutralized or have control of.
Let's check back in the prison. Horsing Gold. This aide of Major Avery, this officer of the Flaming Fist, attempts to get past you. You have. Go ahead, sorry.
She won't move aside to let him pass, but does he have the keys on his belt?
You see nothing obvious. You see no, like, giant keyring or anything like that.
No, of course. It could not be so easy.
The prisoners can smell the smoke and seem to be a bit anxious. They're whispering to each other.
I think as soon as he... Let's see. What can a horse do? Okay, as soon as he starts to walk away, like his back is to her, she will drop Wild Shape. And there's still prisoners milling about, right?
More and more, they're slipping through the gate. They are heading south away from the din of what's inside here. They are, any prisoner that was in that cell block to the southwest is doing their best to get out of here while they can. It is a prison break.
Okay, so here's what I'm trying to set up, but I don't know how feasible this is. She wants to bump into him and pick his pocket, but make it look like she's just trying to get out. Like if he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's reasonable that she's just another one of the prisoners.
Roll sleight of hand.
How obvious is it that she's doing this?
I think you can detect. This is your companion. You
Right.
you have a certain Taldred. You and Nothing Gold have a certain bond here, right? So you are able to, you think, detect what's going on. You make eye contact with her, and you get the impression she's about to try something.
Right.
Yeah,
so
she's
Taldred
like
would
her-
try to
it's
help
like
by
a-
by talking to the guy and saying, "Why are you still here? What are you even doing here?"
You attempt to distract him. He looks rather put upon by the fact that he just saw this massive horse knock down this door, and he's doing his best just to get out of the building by any means necessary. He turns and looks at you. He says, "I'm doing what a soldier should do. I'm following orders.
What were your orders?
Interrogate the prisoners. Roll that sleight of hand check. Do it at advantage. You're being helped by Taldred, who is distracting him.
I just crit failed.
You try to put your hand directly into his pocket. He turns and looks at you and calls out, "Fist, I need help here!" You get the impression that was more than just his voice. You realize something when you go to pick his pocket. He seems unarmed. If you allow him to, he scrambles away.
Taldred shrugs. It's not our problem.
We're not trying to hurt you, we're just trying to get the prisoners out.
He is not listening. And as soon as he felt his hand on you, he take it as unless you physically impede him in some way, he is off running, trying to find his footing on the muddy ground.
Okay, alright, that's done. Let's go into the cell. I can probably try to pick the lock.
Let's check in with you in a moment. Back at the Temple of the Radiant Heart, under the watchful eyes of Helm, we find 2/3 of the party.
Two things. We interrogate him, and I do agree it is probably within our best interest to try to intercept Samantha.
I agree, and I can find her.
And I can possibly call in some help.
Under the circumstances, that might be a good idea. I think it's worth keeping in mind that half the city might be against us, because some people were quite eager to see the fists, and now we've put an end to that. Well, some of that. She looks at Lapalesi.
Rest assured, who I'm calling in would not define an answer. Oh, in order. Sorry, I'm really bad at words today.
I wish you had led with the Zentarum comment, but we will
Agreed.
be on our way to do that.
I would have led with that comment. I had an entire presentation planned for you. However, you preempted it just a bit this morning.
Oh, it's almost as if somebody came in here with swords. Weird. Alright, let's go.
Here's my suggestion. Brenner, he sees you walk past, and he pivots his head, calling out to you. Here's my suggestion. I think that what we should do is we will take your prisoner, and we will do our best to hide him away. I will keep him safe. Paul and Skylar look at this with a measure of derision. Paul shakes his head. Forbes attempts to win Paul over by saying, the purpose of this is you need to go south and stop Samantha from getting to Suzail. It is thus that you should take your fresh new cart. However, at some point, you must come back here. We will quickly be overwhelmed in the city without your absence.
Seems
No,
fair.
with your absence.
I think catching her should be a pretty quick task.
I'm going to lean in close to Forbes and say under my breath, look at my eyes and tell me you're not going to slit his throat once we leave.
He looks at you and locks eyes with you. On the gauntlet of the Watcher, I will not see him any harm.
I will clasp his shoulder.
Roger Dale calls over to you. If I were you, I would take the frontage roads just outside the city. Just loop around, go west, then south. You know the road. We have something to accomplish here. That portal is of immense value to us and to you. Don't you agree?
I do. Explain more about the frontage roads.
Sure.
Explain it in a way so that I can remember it.
Certainly. Around the city, there are just small connecting roads that allow merchants to move from one supply road to another. The road you'll need to take south has access from a number of frontage roads that will hopefully allow you to circumvent the city without taking this cart through the town. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
If I were you, I would go sooner rather than later.
Euros. Can
Yes,
you
ma'am?
message the others and tell them to meet us by the south gate?
Yes, I can. I also forgot I had a mirror over my shoulder.
Kamar's body.
Yeah, Kamar's body.
Yoros was carrying it.
I forgot I was carrying her at the end of last session. had grabbed her off the pedestal or not the pedestal, the platform after I put Avery's stuff in my backpack at Nothing Gold's request, and then I started heading east with everybody else.
You have the charred body of a young human woman checking back in at the jail. Avery's aide wrestles with the unfamiliar terrain as he runs through it, trying to exit as quickly as he can. He steps over a coughing prisoner who is face down in the mud. You find yourselves here inside a small interrogation room.
She says in Sylvan, do you speak Sylvan? To the two Elvish.
They look at each other. One of them says something to you. He shakes his head and says, Atanwe Urar Kite. You have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
How about common?
They tilt their heads at you. Roll insight. Taldred Talton do it at advantage. You have a pretty good sense of the politics of Cormyr, having spent the better part of a decade here.
Dirty 20.
Your dirty 20 yields some valuable insight. These are almost certainly partisans from the Cormanthere. Elven freedom fighters. You doubt they speak common. You have a feeling you know why they were here. This probably predates the Flaming Fist. They were almost certainly imprisoned for rising up against local authorities.
Alright, we have some good news, and that is that Tongues is only a 3rd level spell. I cast Tongues on myself.
You do so, surging with power from the Seldarine.
I think as he's doing that, she'll gesture to them both and say Seldarine to them.
They know that word and give you a measured nod. Euros, you were casting message, is that right? Or did I...
Yes, I was gonna be doing that with my free hand. I just forgot to mention that I had Kumar.
No worries. What is the message you send?
The message I will send is, checking in, how are things? We will be heading to the south gate.
Your orange crystal of the Flaming Fist surges with power. You sense that you are able to message much farther than you would be without this object in your possession. That message arrives, Taldred and Nothing Gold. You may reply.
Taldred says busy.
Put Kumar in my room, please.
Will do. What do you mean busy?
Is that how it works? We can just keep talking?
Yeah.
Taldred
Yeah, he's
says,
continuously.
we're trying to break out prisoners in a building that's on fire. I know the building isn't on fire.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Safe, Southgate.
Taldred can now
You can
understand
speak.
them.
Yes.
And they can understand me. Taldred says, we're trying to get you out of here. Do you know where the key is?
They speak Elven, but you understand it perfectly, and you are able to speak in a intonation that they seem to understand. The prisoner on the left says, I don't think that there is a key. I think there is some type of magical incantation that allows this door to be opened.
No shit.
The-
Well then, that
the-
makes things easier. They said that the door's magical, and I'm gonna cast a spell magic at a... Shit. Let's do 3rd level, dispel magic.
Let me read the spell text.
Certainly.
Be aware that it won't get rid of enchantments.
Wait, what the hell's an enchantment?
Great question. It's like it can't get rid of your sword's enchantment.
Right.
So if it's like an active spell, it can dispel that, but
It's really not clear in 5th edition, but that's how it's always worked. Does not get rid of like passive things that are inscribed or enchanted on material. Otherwise, you could dispel magic and.
But if somebody cast lock on it, you could dispel that.
Right.
You, Taldra Talton, where do you focus the dispel magic spell?
On the door itself.
You do so, focusing your abjuration magics directly at the iron doors, which the elven prisoners have told you must be shut magically. There is an audible click. They look between each other. The prisoner on the right says, "I think that is a rather fortuitous sound. May we?"
Taldred opens the door.
You open the door. It slides open with a satisfying creak.
will you tell them that we're with the Temple of Helm and ask them if they're going
Where?
north?
Where are the red ones?
What are the red ones?
They look between each other. You don't have a word for red?
Wait, I do, but there's lots of things are red. What do you mean red?
As Talcott is talking, can Nothing Gold understand him, or does it sound
Yes,
like?
well, yes, I'm using tongues, so anything I say, you would be able to. Anyone can understand. Yes.
No, they mean the flaming fists. They're gone.
Oh, the flaming fists are routed. They are being pushed out of the city currently.
Routed, pushed out of the city. And our fate is then...
Up to you, but we want to get you out of here before you burn to death.
They look up at the thatched roof ceiling of this northeast building. They say, how charitable of you, human.
Taldred says,
We're
I've been
free?
trapped in a burning building. Yes, you're free.
They look between each other, and their movements are very deliberate. They're trying to exit and step between both of you.
Well, Taldred says, if you need anything before you go, you can come to the Temple of the Radiant Heart to the east.
Temple of the Radiant Heart.
He says it's a big temple to Helm. You can't miss it.
Give them your name.
I'm Taldred Talton. I'm sure you've heard of me.
Taldred Talton. One moment. They look between each other. That does sound rather familiar.
Right?
We will remember this, Taldred Talton. The Temple of the Radiant Heart to the east, as you wish. Do you let them pass?
Well,
Yeah.
we'd be in front of them, like we'd be leading them out, getting
I
the
see.
fuck out of there.
Okay, you are assisting with their egress. You are trying to get them out. You extricate these two prisoners from this interrogation cell. Where do you go next? Where is your intention?
She'll say, I'm gonna check. This is where Kamar was. Do you want to check the southwest building? That's where they were keeping the bulk of the prisoners.
Is the door to that building ajar?
The southwest building, yes. The northwest building, no.
Taldred says, looks like the southwest is already open.
Can she try the door on the northwest building?
You try the door. Doesn't seem locked, just closed. Do you open it?
Yes.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm rolling so badly tonight. 9.
It's empty. Just like your heart, You cannot suppress the urge to vomit. Taldred, you find a densely arranged cell block. There are bunk beds here, 3 in a stack. Each bunk bed has a foul-looking bucket next to it, and there are the scraps of what must be the limited rations that were offered. Both the north and south cell block are open.
Okay, is there anyone in the area? Because you did mention that Avery's assistant walked over a guy who was laying on the ground coughing.
That is correct. There are prisoners in various states of physical disrepair. You see prisoners coughing and hacking on the ground. They are doing their best to leave by any means necessary.
Taldred begins trying to assist them.
You do so, spending some time helping various prisoners to their feet and seeing what limited things you can do to help them. But many are not sick, they're simply infirm. These are...
Right, he's like pulling them, basically. Like, actually, if they're like malnourished and whatnot, he might be able to lift a few, but mostly he'd be like dragging them by their ankles.
You do so, assisting in the prison break, as it were. Nothing gold, you can taste only acid. Checking back in the Temple of the Radiant Heart. Euros, you have a lively conversation via the message spell.
What's the story, Euros?
They're releasing the prisoners in the building on fire, apparently. I told them to meet us at the south gate.
Good.
We should be at the south gate.
I don't suppose Miss Ruthenberg would be close enough for you to get a message to her.
I mean, if I know her general direction.
South.
No. South, yes.
Okay. I've never tried this before, but I'll give it a shot.
Yes, tell her that Avery is dead and we wish to discuss what to do next.
I mean, is that really how you want to open it? With somebody that's dissenting as she is?
She did desire his death, did she not? She might be happy to hear the news.
Yeah, this is now a free city. That's what she wanted.
Alright, well, let me see if I can even find her first. I will just simply point south, visualizing Ruthenberg, and with the message spell, and I will say, Ruthenberg, can you hear me?
Your orange crystal vibrates with power. You reach out across realm space to see, is Samantha Ruthenberg out there to your south listening for you? You hear a voice inside your head. Fuck you, you flaming fist cunt. Don't talk to me.
Found her.
Oh, wonderful. How is she?
You know. She called me a cunt again, but what's new?
Well, do you give her the good news? That might make her
Well, I just wanted to find
slightly
her
more
first.
agreeable.
Yeah, let's see what that. Alright, let's try that. I will send her another. I will respond with another message. Well, some good news from this cheery cunt. Avery is dead.
Even from here, I can see through your deceptions.
How do you think I'm talking to you?
Undoubtedly via the Shadow Weave.
Yes, through Avery's own machination. Do you really take some, what you would call inbred soldier capable of messaging this far without some help?
You sense that she wishes her mind could crush yours, but all she can say is, "Don't fucking contact me again. I want nothing to do with you. You're just as bad as that asshole Arthraid, if not worse."
Well, she's in a good mood.
Try going just a few days in your life without betraying someone, if that's even possible for someone of your moral character.
The good news is she can't say that because I didn't respond.
Her voice echoes across nothingness. The action's with the party.
She is south. She
Any-
doesn't believe me Avery is dead. And just kind of gave me the Ruthenberg special. You know how it is.
We have to go.
We have to go.
She doesn't like you very much. Yes, let's walk and talk at the same time, but could you try and convince her perhaps to grant us an audience? Not for you, clearly she doesn't like you very much, but perhaps the rest of us?
Let's not play our hand too strongly. I think we're gonna have to catch her.
Agreed. Hand me the stone.
What stone?
The thing in your hand that you've been using to cast message.
Why would I do that?
Because if you want help in catching her, I'm going to need it.
You can't use message though.
Just do it.
No.
So you wish for her to sell you out to the Zen.
She's gonna sell all of us out. What do you want? She's not gonna respond to you.
I'm not calling her.
She can't call me back, so I don't understand the whole point of giving you the
I'm calling help, not her.
Oh, why didn't you say so?
I did twice.
Do you know how to use it?
I think we're hustling out the door as we are bickering.
George,
Agreed,
just
yeah.
give him the ring. He'll give it back. What's the big deal?
It's a stone.
Oh
It is
my
a
God.
big deal.
Oh my god, I don't have time for this.
Fine, I will give him the stone. You better give it back, and I will take Kumar downstairs real fast.
Where do you place the body of this young woman?
Nothing Gold wanted her in her room.
Where in her room?
On her bed, specifically.
You do so. As you are attempting to leave, Roger Dale grabs your forearm, Gastmere, and says, "Look, I'm asking a professional courtesy. Again, I need to know when you're going to use that portal. My team needs to go into. I'm asking you for a promise. Tell me, through this message spell or otherwise, when you're going to breach the portal. Agreed?"
First of all, Mr. Dale, do keep your hands off me. That is a professional courtesy as well. I'd hate to see your fingers injured because we do need them. I don't want them on me. I dislike those with sticky fingers touching me.
You have a feeling that anytime he touches something, there might be something more there, but he lets his hand go.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. I appreciate that. And we will be sure to inform you once we are ready to go. So yes, I promise.
He nods his head and doesn't say another word. Is the lot of the party here at the Temple of the Radiant Heart egressing to the south gate? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, we have the cart outside still, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
To clarify, are the paladins coming with us?
No.
Okay, we're just taking their cart.
yeah. This is our cart.
It's yours.
Oh, it's our cart. Okay, got it.
Are you taking the major, or did you want to put him downstairs?
The major is getting tended to by
The paladin.
the chuckleheads at the
Okay, well then I will give them strict instructions on how to prevent him from messaging, take the stone, and so on and so forth.
You do so. They find on his person another identical orange crystal. Forbes takes an interest in this. the last thing you notice as you exit the temple is him studying this orange crystal. You wonder if he may be able to put this to good use. Checking in on our party at the jail.
Can I warn Forbes about using the Shadow Weave in the Temple of Helm?
You perhaps have this thought as the opportunity slips through your fingers. Nothing Gold, Taldry Talton. You are assisting these two elvish partisans out of the jail. Is that right?
Yeah, I think as she sees Taldred trying to help people, she will assist him in assisting others.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, actually, even though I thought that Tongues was a concentration spell, it's not. So my enhanced ability has not been broken, so we both still have advantage on strength checks, so Taldred probably could move these people along pretty quickly.
With your astral strength backed by the power of Selune, you are able to, with relative ease, lift people up, somewhat literally, out of the mud and grime. You assist 3 or 4 despondent prisoners in exiting the grounds as the fire spreads amongst the barracks building on the southeast. This place seems oddly empty now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you have money, Tull?
Yes?
Should we send them to the inn? The Tossed Wave?
Not sure how people around here feel about elves. What if the innkeeper doesn't speak Elven?
Not the elves, the people we're helping.
Oh. I assume they have homes? I've done what I can!
That's fine, that's fine. Alright. It was just a thought.
So, do we manage to get all these people clear of the jail?
You do so. It seems rather desolate in here right now. The smell of burning straw fills your nostrils.
Oh, then Taldred's getting the fuck out.
You do so. Your next destination?
Just outside to begin with.
Let's start there. You observe rancor in the streets. There are still worried civilians, people with no stake in this matter, watching the jail burn with a measure of derision. You wonder who it is exactly that you just set free.
Nothing Gold washes her mouth out with the water in her canteen and says, "Thank you for helping. I will remember that as well."
Taldred says, I didn't do it for you.
No.
Okay. I've been trapped in a burning building before.
You said. I heard.
And Taldred's got his back to you. And he's crying. Not like audibly, but he definitely.
Oh, are his shoulders shaking?
Maybe a little bit.
She sets a hand on one of his shoulders and says, "I would have pulled you out if I had been there."
Taldred just shakes his head.
Were there others with you?
Yeah.
And they didn't? And she lets that trail off ominously.
Taldred said I was supposed to pull them out.
You find yourself briefly overcome with a feeling of sorrow and emptiness. Here, on the West Road, leaving the city, a number of you find yourselves somewhere familiar. You notice that there are still orange banners up on the walls. You have your little Cole Cormier mining cart. You have 4 of you here together outside the walls. From inside, you see ominous-looking black smoke. The actions with the party.
This is not the West Gate. Is that correct?
The south gate. It's not the south gate. This is the west gate. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This is the south. There's a northeast gate and a southwest gate.
I see. Because the fist banners are not on the wall. It's a different map.
This is, where are you guys? This is the banners are there in your, that is Theater of the Mind.
Got it. But it is the same gate next to where the executions happened this morning.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is the fire still burning on the parapet?
You assume so, yes. You can see a steady stream of smoke coming from the west gate, yes.
Got it.
Stone in hand, Brenner looks to Yoros. I haven't done this before. You call out their name?
You have to point in a direction that you think they are, or you know where they are. Call out their name and whisper. It helps if you can visualize them.
Well, at least I know what they look like. Brenner holds the stone in one hand, points off to the west, closes his eyes, and whispers the name Elias Kitt.
You do so, calling out for one of the Oswald Company soldiers.
Second in command, yes.
You reach out across. Where do you think he is? What direction?
He left them on camped west, between here and, if I'm looking at the map correctly, it'd be Evening Star.
Evening Star, yes. You reach out to the Oswald Company bannermen that you left stationed at Evening Star, Cormier.
This is Brenner Oswick. I need you to send the fastest of our party south to Cizale. There is a woman by the name of Samantha Ruthenberg. She's blonde, clad in paladin armor. She sets out to cause great instability. We have to catch her, alive or dead.
You wait a long moment after calling out into the void, unsure if anyone has retrieved your call, and then you hear a familiar voice in your head. It is Elias Kitt. He says, quite simply, something that perhaps he'd become accompanied to for years of service. Yes, sir.
Great to hear.
You feel a sense of something impending. The actions with the party.
They're on their way.
Take it you found them?
I knew where they left him. He holds the stone out to you.
I will retrieve the stone.
Brenner, how do you feel using this Flaming Fist implement to cast your voice so far?
Faster than a hawk. He's not thinking too terribly much on the lines of it being a magical implement to do these sorts of things, but right now, in the pragmatic response, it does exactly what he needs it to do, as fast as possible.
Yoris, you once again possess this crystal that bears the livery of the organization that you once served quite loyally. It remains the party's turn.
I never intended to use my men to charge straight into Zentelkeep. I'm not going to send them off on a fool's errand. But the political stability of this world, that does matter, depending if we take it down or we don't. To that end, I'll use them.
Glad to hear that.
It's been a taxing morning for me, and we probably have a long ride ahead, because we're going to be moving slower than her. Does anybody mind if I sit in the cart and study my spellbook while we travel?
You're free to. I'm driving.
I have no problems with it.
Why would we take issue with that?
Because she's the best horse driver around.
you'll have a little comment. I'm just being courteous. Next time I'll just do it.
Considering the circumstances, I'm sure we can forgive you for a slight lack of manners. Although it depends on the situation, of course.
We'll choose to laugh at Gasmir.
Gasmer, you seem to be having a good time with Ada. Why don't you sit in the back with her and you rest up as well?
Well, it seems we have a moment because we are stuck waiting for the others.
You feel a sense of incompleteness. You are starting to make the logistics preparations for a journey, and yet 1/3 of your companions are off somewhere doing something. Let's check on them. On Westeros Boulevard, just outside of the jail, we find Taldred and Nothing Gold.
I wanted to make a note that Taldred isn't sad, necessarily. He saved these people. This is the redemption arc, okay? He was actually able to pull these people out of the fire.
You feel a sense of flourishing optimism.
Should we take these two to the temple quick, or should we just head off?
I think they can find their own way. I don't think they're continuing further into the city.
Okay, then.
There were a number of things that the Flaming Fist confiscated. Do you think it's safe to leave them wherever they ended up?
I was thinking about that.
Taldred,
Do you think so?
roll insight.
Okay. $15.
Having competed against the Fist many times for a contract, you have a feeling that anything they confiscated is probably in a wagon train heading somewhere a little bit more secure than here. They have a way of piling their riches. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I think they've already moved things out of the city.
Shit.
I was asking if that, do I think they've already moved stuff out of the city yet?
Hard to say.
Well, it wouldn't be necessarily, because I made sure of something. There was an item that the Grim Merchant had that I became intimately familiar with, just in case I would need to locate it later. So, if that stuff is still around, I will cast Locate Object on that shield specifically. And let's see. Oh yeah, it's only 2nd level, so boom.
1 second. Well, let me see the range on this.
It's 1,000 feet, I want to say.
This object is not within 1,000 feet of you.
Understood. Taldred, so you see him cast the spell, and he says, I think they've already moved everything.
Well, that's going to make our impending encounter with the Githyanki particularly annoying.
Taldred says, that's for tomorrow, Taldred, to worry about.
So you really don't have any connection with the Seldarine?
What?
You don't know of them, and yet you're using their magic.
Taldred says, I'm blessed by Selune.
But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Not at all.
Do you talk to her? Does she talk to you? Do you commune?
You could say that.
She's not speaking Elvish to you?
Words are... The thing is, it's hard to explain.
Okay. I am curious. I myself went through a ritual to be able to access the Seldarine the way that I did. if you worship Selune and somehow she became sheltered by the Seldarine, then I suppose there's nothing to do there. But 2 of our other magic-wielding party members are drawing from very dangerous sources.
Yes.
So, can't we get them to draw from the Seldarine as well? If it was possible for you, couldn't it be possible for Ada and Yoros?
So this is completely out of Taldred's wheelhouse. He has no idea how magic works, like, at all. He only he doesn't even understand, like, other religions and stuff. He doesn't know about other gods. He just knows about his specific one. Well, 2 now, technically. I can tell you that. And so he's just looking at you, and he's like, I don't know. What are you thinking?
Taldred Talton,
Mm-hmm.
you mull over this thought and try to come up with a way to articulate how foreign much of this is to you. And when this happens, you suddenly feel someone invading your brain. It's Forbes. He says, "Hello."
Oh God, there's 3
Hello?
of you now.
Oh, is she talking to you? Selune?
No, like like the voice is masculine, and he's like, I don't think so.
Mr. Talton, I didn't get a chance to talk to you before you left, but we found this crystal on.
Hello? Wait, like Taldra's just like trying to.
Forbes is just he's just
stream of
going.
consciousness.
He is he is just going. I didn't get a chance to talk to you before you left, and I had something just for you. Taldred Talton, when you go to Suzale, and I hope you go to Suzale, you will need to do something very important for me there. Taldred, are you ready?
Oh God, it's Forbes.
Taldred, our account. Go ahead.
Forbes? Sorry, does Taldred say this out loud?
Yes. That was 100% out loud.
He's not a spellcaster?
Is he not? He's with the temple. I don't know.
Taldred, you have to do something for us. You have to outrun the news of the Flaming Fist taking over the city.
What?
Taldred, you have to go to the branch of the First Arabellan Bank there in Suzale. I know this seems like a small task, but for someone like you, I think you'll be able to make the most of it.
I don't know when I'm going to Suzale next. Because he has no idea that they are headed there.
Well, perhaps you should circle back with Miss Worthware.
I'll be sure to do that.
Also, it seems that with this crystal, I am currently able to communicate with you, and you are able to communicate back. This may be a strategic benefit.
Taldred feels so...
What's so funny?
This seems invasive, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's like this is the last person who should have this, and he's just like, please God, no.
Nothing Gold, you observe Taldred having an argument with his own head.
She feels left out.
You do. This reminds you of just moments ago when Taldred was having the conversation with the prisoners, and you could understand what he was saying, but not what they were saying. It is frustrating to feel like you are on the margins.
Taldred said, could you please only use this for emergencies? He doesn't even know if Forbes can hear him.
Use what?
You hear a voice in your head. Very well, Taldred Talton. Forbes out. Is that how this works? Forbes out.
Oh my God, yes.
The actions with the party.
So I assume we are headed west then?
What was that? What just happened?
Apparently Forbes has some kind of item, and now he can talk directly into my head. I don't like it.
About this time, you'll get a message from Yoros. Hey.
No!
Oh.
That's all you hear back.
Is it just a Taldred or is nothing gold?
It's just a Taldred. We have the cart ready at the southwest gate. If you can hurry, that'd be great.
God, Can you hear a scream telepathically? Because if you can, Yoros hears one.
Eldred Talton, you seem to be quite the nexus,
I never asked for this.
but you're quite good at it.
Can't deny that.
Anyway, what I was talking about, please ruminate on it. Ask your goddess if you can. I think it would be quite useful if we could get the others off of there. She says a swear word in Sylvan.
Taldred, like, you can tell he looks offended. He's like, ask her to grant her blessings to them?
Don't gods like to do that?
To their chosen. He starts standing up more straight.
What makes you think that she would not choose them?
Because she already chose me.
Are you the only one allowed?
As far as I know.
There's no other worshippers of Sulene?
Taldred thinks for a moment. He says, there are, but I have been tasked with a special mission.
From her.
That's correct.
What is it?
It's this mission we share. To kill Tyranny Fang.
Sulene?
Yes?
Okay. Well, but the others are also trying to kill Tyranny Fang, so shouldn't she also choose them?
I guess they're not favored. We can't all be so lucky.
Do you at least see the wisdom of what I am proposing?
Taldred thinks about it and he says, I've been with many teams like this before. I find it's best if you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Everyone draws power from different areas. Usually works out pretty well.
I need 1 second, my alarm's going off.
Actually, it is 7 Pacific. Why don't we take our fiver right now? How does that sound?
Great idea, yep.
You ready for an adventure?
Where are we adventuring?
We're going to Suzelle, baby.
Yeah, we are going to Suzelle, finally. That was a good play, calling Oswic's soldiers.
As soon as I read that fucking message at will across space and time, I was like,
No,
that's
it's
the way I'm
so
gonna do it.
powerful.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
I'm also really glad that I offhandedly mentioned where my fucking camp was.
Yes.
Like, yeah, just vaguely to the west. Mm.
Yeah, if I had to come up with that on the spot, I would just not.
The worst part was when Mike was like, "Hey, I need you to write up a bunch of characters for your
Oh, so
Oswick
you got
company,"
to design his bannerman. Oh, that's so cool.
which did actually influence a lot of the way that I'm playing the character now, which I think is fun. It made me realize something with the subsection of people and some of the other decisions that I've made so far. So I thought that was pretty fun. Also, I'm a little excited, depending
I'm
on who
excited
shows
to
up.
meet them. 1, 2, you realize you've named them, now they're going to die.
Oh, they're 100% dead.
Yes, they are red shirts.
Yeah, it is very, very fucking unfortunate. It's Elias Kit with 1 T, and his name is a pun.
Elias Kid?
He is a knight.
What's the pun?
Sir Kit.
That's cute. I'll fix it.
Fix what?
Falmari was just telling me that he designed and named all of well, not all of, but like a certain subsection of Oswic's bannermen. So he was telling me specifically how Elias Kid's name was spelled, because I put that in the notes.
There was a clerical error in my stupid brain. Can't hold on. I'm genuinely kind of fucking upset that, like, I assumed that by feeling better that role playing would be easy today, but like when words come to my head now, it's just like they're an immediate jumbled fucking mess.
Ooh,
Mental illness, buddy. Let's go.
sinus infection, right?
Yeah, I'm coming off the end of it now. I only have this fucking cold brew coffee, and it's not doing the job.
Oh, I've had 3 coffees today.
God, I wish I had 3 coffees today.
That's a lot of coffee.
It's been a busy day. I mean, I didn't even finish work until 8 o'clock, so.
Doesn't it ever like give you anxiety instead of doing what does coffee even do?
I mean, I take anti-anxiety medicine, so
Oh,
I don't know if it's for anxiety or the fact I drink too much coffee, so we don't go over that bridge.
guess it kind of balances it out.
Yeah.
Hey, what a bag. I think chemically speaking, caffeine is an adenosine inhibitor, so it stops that. It stops your body from feeling tired, but too much of it will trigger anxiety in most people under large quantities.
I do drink a lot of coffee, so.
Yeah, I feel extremely attacked right now.
No,
Not-
we were talking about me.
We're all drinking coffee.
Yeah, I mean, I finished my Sheets coffee earlier.
I've
I'm
reflected.
drinking wine coolers from Trader Joe's.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Because I tried to get the Malbec. Mike, do you remember the Malbec that we got?
I do. It was amazing.
Yeah, so I got another bottle, except I put the corkscrew in, and it's like it feels like it's glued in. Like no matter how much I yank up, it just won't. The cork won't budge.
Did Nick give it a shot yet? I feel like she's pretty
She's
good.
not home yet. But I texted her, and she's like, "Okay, yes, I'll get to it when I get home."
Just remind me I need to buy more of that wine from the farmer Gil's drinking the other night.
Oh, the blackberry wine.
Yeah, that stuff's so good.
I used to. I think I've talked about this before, but I used to always pour a drink during the break in D&D, and I just make a coffee, and it probably changes the tenor of the game quite a bit.
it's certainly different.
Yeah.
So it's no longer wine and yogurt. It's now just straight coffee.
That's correct. And yes, I did. I wanted to know what you were drawing, Ridley, because I had a feeling it was D&D related.
Oh, it's great. Is that supposed to be Casimir?
No, it's like a random rogue-ish person, I think.
It looks
Oh,
like
that looks so good.
really
Show that
good.
again.
It's an older sketch that I was,
touching up.
yeah.
Wow, that's really good. That's really, really good.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but they sorry, I'm like blowing up Wrigley's stuff, but they did a lot of illustrations for like Pathfinder, right?
Um,
Do you have an art page or something?
White Wolf products. So
You did stuff for White Wolf?
That's fucking incredible.
I did Exalted primarily, but I
Oh,
did
right.
stuff for Changeling and Werewolf as well, I believe. Yes.
Was this in the current edition or the one like right previous?
It's in previous editions. It's been like several years by now. I think it was second edition.
Oh damn! I probably owned this fucking book.
I had like
I definitely do.
Can I find your work in
few-
this thing?
I have no idea. Probably that looks like the third edition. I don't think you're gonna find it in that. It's
That's
mostly
really,
second
really
edition
cool.
work.
At a glance,
up-
I thought that was a JoJo character.
And it doesn't.
Partner worked on those books as well, so you actually see like a lot of his illustrations in those as well.
That's fucking sick. You should link those in the Discord once we're done here. And I am super sorry. I just realized I finished my coffee. I'll be right back.
I was gonna say when we come out of break, there was if I'm allowed one more thing that Nothing Gold wanted to talk to Taldred about, but I would say that they're probably walking and talking at the same time, so they will
Yes.
eventually get into the party.
I would say, why don't the two of you, assuming you are traveling west on the road here, walking through the dreaded West Gate and the pyre that still burns, why don't you have your conversation now while we wait for Fulmari?
So I think especially as they start passing by the pyre where Kamar died, she will say, sort of apropos of nothing, so how long do I have to wait until I can talk to her again?
You what now?
The ghost, like with Brint Grommel. How long does that take?
I don't follow.
That's harsh.
Someone dies, their body falls down, and then for some reason, for some people, they're still there. Like with Brent Grommel, you were right there. We talked to him.
Yes, that doesn't always happen, though.
What can I do to make it happen?
I can technically make it happen.
You can make ghosts?
Tolkien says, what? No! I can talk to the dead.
You can talk to the dead?
Yes, many clerics can.
Is there a time limit on that?
Well, the first thing you have to understand about the dead is most of them are just, like, something happens. They die and they become assholes. I don't know what it is. They're often cryptic. They speak in riddles. I don't know. Maybe that's all they do after they die. Maybe it's all riddles all the way down. I don't know.
But Grint could speak freely. I want something like that.
Grint was a ghost. That's not quite. He was an apparition, a spirit.
Right, but how do I make that?
I don't think that's how it works. I think Grint willed himself. The strong-willed often do.
Oh, come
They
on, was
haunt.
strong-willed.
Taldred shrugs.
Okay. When we get back, I would like to talk to her.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. And if there is anything I can do for you as well, let me know.
All right, then.
You conclude this conversation as you pass under the portcullis of the West Gate. Hold on one moment. You arrive somewhere familiar. party is once again whole.
As they approach, Taldred waves. He's like, "What? Wow, this happened fast. What?"
There you are. We have a
Here.
Miss Rhythmback to catch.
Why does she take precedence over Lapalesi?
She's selling us out to the Zen.
Yes,
She
evidently.
what?
Do you think the dead drop is south?
It was to the west. On the
Well,
way
we're
I
in the
came in.
southwest gate.
Certainly could be. Across the table, on Brenner's way from Evenstar to here, would he know specifically where that dead drop was, or is it just a nondescript place along the road?
A nondescript place that only through fortune you were able to find. You saw this as subtle as anything else, buried by a fence post, and it has burned a hole in your pocket ever since.
Oh, the native's pocket. I don't think I could bring you back to it. But only chance I found it in the first place.
It's not important. It should not be news to us that she was contacting the Zent.
In either case, we need to go.
Okay.
We can take the conversation on the road.
Just get a head start on us, and
Did you not try to? I can contact her. Why is she?
She sounded.
Why is she
fuck
doing
off.
this? What?
Oh yeah, she told me to fuck off.
You let him? Oh my god.
He was the one with the spell. But if you'd like to try, please do go ahead.
Taldred cast sending.
You cast sending. 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me make sure I know the character limit real quick. I think I can do this.
It's 25 words or less.
Yes.
Infinite range, a character with which you are familiar, which you are, and they cannot reply.
So Taldred's reply goes, Samantha, Taldred Talton, incredibly handsome. Flaming Fist routed. Please come back.
End of message.
Yes.
You send this. You send it far across the plane. You're not sure exactly where it landed.
She can respond.
Can she?
Yeah.
Can answer in a like manner immediately. Okay. You are going to be far less handsome with the boot of the Zent on your face.
Taldred has to burn a 4th level spell slot to send this message.
Okay.
And it says, Samantha, Taldred Talton, incredibly handsome. If you go to the Zent, I'll kill you myself.
A message arrives in turn. You're too late.
Taldred says to the group, she says we're too late
For what?
to stop her. Like she might already be in Suzale.
she left half an hour ago. Let's go.
Unless you
Portals exist.
Yes.
I think she just means that she's already aligned with the Zent.
Look, we could go. I need to go to Suzale anyway.
Great.
Why?
Brenner, at this
Forbes told me to. Oh my god, let's just go.
Okay.
Did you give Forbes something? He's suddenly bursting into Tall's head.
He won't stop.
Yeah, why?
What did you give him?
He turns to Euros and he goes, "You."
The Fists have this signet ring that they use to message over long distances. Forbes has one of them now.
It's a crystal, but yes.
Can I see it?
No.
But it would be
Forbes
incredibly
has it.
useful if we had more.
We have 2. Forbes has 1. I have the other.
Who are you going to talk to? You just told us you have no friends.
I'm trying to make some, but you're making it really hard.
You can certainly make friends in Suzale. Get on the cart. At this point, Brenner is ravenously shaking the reins, not to disturb the horses, but to get people.
Yeah, are we making friends with Miss Ruthenberg, or are we...
She's
Killing
still, no, she's still of the Temple of the Radiant Heart.
I doubt
No.
it.
No, he's not.
What did Forbes and Mr. Paul Arthrid say?
Oh, they fired her.
They fired her?
Yeah, she's done.
They disavowed her.
Probably.
They called for her execution.
Not in so many words.
Indirectly.
Are you certain? Paul seemed quite, I wouldn't say close to her, but
Every word out of Paul's mouth regarding Samantha has been a word of warning. To me specifically, and everyone.
a warning as in don't let her cross a line. Did she cross that line?
I think she did that when she buried a sword in your shoulder.
I don't think so.
Get in the cart.
I am in the cart. We're discussing something of strategic importance to all of us.
The moment that everyone's on the cart, Brenner will kick the horses into gear.
Yes. Everyone's in the cart. We
Yeah.
are moving.
Yeah.
We can talk as we ride.
I will be sitting up front with Brenner.
That's fine.
Everybody else is in the back.
So you had 2 of these rocks, and you decided to give one to Forbes?
He's in possession of Lapalesi. It's
Yeah.
the most strategically placed stone. Yes.
It's sensible, is it not? Because he can immediately report to us if something goes awry with the portal.
You could have given it to Paul.
Really, Paul seems sensible to you.
It's not my fault he likes you the most.
Mm-hmm.
Is nothing gold near the cart? I'm sitting on the cart.
But yeah, actually, she would have wanted to, she would have sat right next to Ada.
I'll be looking at my spell book, like turning the pages type affect. I'll say nothing gold, don't be naive. Helm is a sworn enemy of all of the patron deities of the Zentarum. She's turned.
I think she may be in the process of turning.
She was incredibly hostile to me. To me! That one I understand. But to me...
I
Well,
don't think Helm sees shades of gray. And when she goes up to his holy hall, I don't think he'll see them either.
we're not Hellmites.
My father
She is.
was.
Your father was?
He was.
Listen, I'll back all of you, of course, whatever you decide.
What's your game here? Like, what's the point? She needs to die.
She's
Oh,
like,
she-
wait,
Sorry, what was that, Agasmir?
Does she need to die?
She's currently the primary Zentarum agent working against us. Do you think that person needs to live?
listen. Just because somebody's in contact with the Zentarum does not make them an enemy alone.
Alright, so I'm gonna be straight with you. I've had to kill my commanding officer for your Zentarum friend. I'm not dealing with this anymore. She dies.
We have no other contact with the Zentarum because we could not save her.
We have Maris.
Wherever she is.
I'd like to see her again. And I can find her.
As can I.
I know where she is, and in fact, Ada, this is why I wanted to talk to you. She's in Suzale.
Great.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
convenient.
I'd much rather have a conversation with somebody who's willing to have one than Samantha. And while I agree that out of all the people that we've met on this road, she
But-
should probably be in the grave, I'm up
I would
on the
like-
line of Ada. We're not going to slit her throat and bind her down. If she wants to die in the field of battle, so be it. Elsewise, who cares?
All right, I would like to talk to her alone. That's all I wanted to say.
No.
She's more than welcome to have a conversation, Yor.
With everybody.
Yeah, we could all be present, surely.
Anytime anybody has a conversation with all of us, they end up dead,
Hmm.
Strange how that works out.
right?
Nothing, Gold. I understand your desire to extract information from people, but you have to use some modicum of character judgment. Samantha Ruthenberg is the most uncompromising person that has ever walked through the gates of Suzerain, including the majors of the Flaming Fist.
Information and morality are mutually exclusive.
Maybe for you.
I do suspect there is some conflict within Miss Ruthenberg, and she may be compromising with some of her own core values, which could be exploited if we did wish for her to be on our side instead.
Under the fist of the Zent, there is no free Cormier. Period. Perhaps
She
we could
knows
sway her to that end.
They may have
Exactly.
that she would have some ownership over the future of Cormier.
I'm gonna slam my book shut. I'm gonna point at Nothing Gold. You started the fight in the swamp. I'm gonna point at Gasmere. You started the fight at the Executioner's block. I'm not the one starting fights.
You got me almost killed.
Did I really start that one?
Arguable, but you understand my point, certainly. We're going to fight Samantha Ruthenberg, who may be our better, as a group.
Do you not want to understand why she's doing this before you send her to this grave?
Do you not understand why she's doing it?
Hey,
I
Nothing
don't,
gold.
actually.
I can give you a hint. I'll just bring her back from the grave.
Let's
I
not.
feel like she is doing this because she feels like she hasn't got any other options, which is why I'm suggesting that we give her some other options.
I
Feel
told
free to
her
parlay,
that
but
the Flaming
you and I
Fist...
both know this is ending one way.
I told her that the Flaming Fist had been routed, alright, that they were no longer here. And she told me that she couldn't wait for the Zent to have their boot on my neck.
Yes, and I also told her Avery was dead and she called me a cunt.
I don't think she
And
believes
so far I'm 1 for
you.
1 for killing
Why-
people that have insulted me, so let's keep up the trend, shall we?
Listen, if you want to talk to her, talk away. She may kill you in the process. And don't be so foolish as to think that your silver tongue can talk you out of every situation. This is a paladin of Helm. One way or the other, she sees the world in two colors, black and white.
Ada, as I said before, whatever decision this group makes, I will back. I did not want to talk to Samantha Ruthenberg alone. I do want to talk to Maris alone. And if she's going to the Zent, it may very well be Maris that she's trying to broker through.
That sounds sensible, although there are many Zent contacts in every city I've been in since the spell plague started.
It's a wild guess.
Yeah.
To that end, I have a question. When you felt her blade pierce your shoulder on his own holy ground, you felt Helm's power course through you. Is that true?
I don't know if it was Helm's power, but I did feel magic. And it was furious.
Ritter leaves that question open in the air.
Are you suggesting that she's broken her oath?
Tends to be the case, one, as he opens his right hand over the reins. When one forsakes them, or the other way around, you tend to lose that. It doesn't seem to be that even while consorting with the Zentarum themselves, Helm has found it reasonable to unlist her. Perhaps we should be wary of that. Unless she's found another patron.
She has. Helm would not stand for her defecting to the Zent. There's no way. Not in the Nine Hells.
A lot of things have happened in the last 10 years.
You have this conversation as you move south on the road. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
You
Nothing
find.
gold.
No, please. Go ahead.
What's this really about?
Ruthenberg's death, you mean?
No. Your desire to turn her instead of kill her. Do you need to see her redeemed?
I simply see these as desperate acts. I think that at every turn she's been trying to talk to us and we've rebuffed her in some way or another. I do not think she has been singularly unfriendly to us this entire time. I know that she has complained about feeling betrayed by someone who seems to keep telling you that she's not to be trusted.
You feel kinship with her.
She spilled my blood. It happens. I would not die for her.
I don't want you to die for her. Listen, you're smart. You know that she will not compromise.
I agree. I do not think we are going to emotionally forge bonds of friendship with her by any means. If anything, I'm saying we may be able to manipulate her.
I doubt it, but it's preferable to fighting. I'm not looking forward to another fight, especially with somebody as fearsome as her. I expended a lot of resources this morning to make sure.
So,
The road to Cicel is long. Sleep in the cart.
Yeah, I need to study.
While that's all going on, Talder is going to cast pre-baked food and water. And he's going to say, eat up. It's a long way.
Yoris is going to be pretty upset when you mention that comment about manipulating her. Because Yoris literally killed his commanding officer because he was being manipulated. He's not going to allow the same thing to happen to somebody else.
What does he look like when you say he's upset?
He scowls.
What's wrong, Yoros? Is somebody talking to you?
No. But you have priorities I do not agree with.
I think that's always been the case.
Even more so than usual.
What do you mean?
I am confused of what you want to do with Ruthenberg. You want to be her friend? You don't want to be her friend. You feel kinship? You now want to manipulate her. What is it? Why
She
can't we-
gestures to all of herself. You realize I'm not human. I do
don't
not
care
have
what you are. Gods be damned, don't be damned what you are. I don't care.
Just because you do not understand me does not make me worthy of contempt.
Yoros, I have a question. When you found yourself following every order under the Flaming Fist, did you agree with everything they said?
Many of the times, yes.
Where did that lead you? You put yourself in a retinue of people with everything they had to do aligned with you. You never were challenged by those around you, and here you are. Sometimes it's best to trust those with different priorities than your own.
I will say this. I may not tell you everything. I will certainly steal and lie to you, but I will do my best to keep you alive and to see our mission to the end. And I did, and I do consider you a friend.
Now, pick out which part of that was the lie.
Give me some of that food, Taldrin.
Talder hands you a handful of, it's like nuts and tubers.
The journey is easy. The roads here are surprisingly well maintained. It is such that you find yourself somewhere new with someone old. The road has a bend here, as it must negotiate low, swampy ground. And as you bring your cart around the bend, you see something. You see a lone tiger in plate mail, walking with purpose, a grimy glitter of sweat. Sensing you, she circles and turns from 100 feet away, throwing her pack into the dust and hefting her longsword with both hands from the distance. She calls across the valley. If the Flaming Fist sent you to kill me, I want you to know that I will not go down easy.
The Flaming Fist didn't send us.
We have taken General Avery's life.
What proof have you of this? Why would that one betray his command?
Yeah, sure, he can explain that.
I
We
can
have his
see
things.
I can see the lies in you from here. You won't stop me from where I'm going.
Taldred says, do you want me to try? To the party, he doesn't like yell at. He says, do you want me to give this a go?
How
Let's
long
do it.
has it been that we've been on the road?
About 2 or 3 hours. It's now just coming up on noon.
Not enough to regain spell slots or anything.
Yeah.
Correct.
Short rest, though, I guess.
Short rest, okay. Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah, I'll take those hit points.
You caught up with her after a fairly short amount of time outside the city.
Yeah, I don't want to fight her. If we can avoid this fight, nothing will Taldred.
Should we ask her if she can cast Zone of Truth?
I know Taldred can.
To her right now.
I know that Taldred can, but it would answer the question about her ability to use magic.
Let's just let it play out.
If you want me to use Zone of Truth, it will be the last high-level spell I can cast. So if this turns ugly, I would no longer have that. So let's make sure that's what you want.
I would not do it without her permission. It would be if you do not trust us, here is how you can be sure that we are telling the truth. I would not center it on her.
At this point, Brenner is slowly marching the cart towards her, not in a specifically fast or aggressive manner, but just at a canter.
She makes no hostile move, but swings her sword in a circle and casts a spell. Her sword gleams with pure white energy. She mutters something under her breath. She sizes you up.
What's the source?
You can't tell from here.
Taldred will hop off the cart.
Yeah, nothing gold will follow.
She simply waits, waiting for you to make a move.
And Taldred takes his shield and he stabs it into the ground and leaves it there.
Show her Avery's things. We have some of them, do we not? Still stained with his blood.
We don't need
And
to
his
go
correspondence.
there. Oh, okay.
Leave it to Taldred's honey ton. I'm sure this will go well.
State your intent. What are you doing here?
Why are you going to the Zentarum? What possible reason could you have?
It's really quite simple. I would rather live as a vassal to Great Evil than be destroyed by it. Your plan to infiltrate their keep is delusional.
So you never believe in Smithfield?
Smithfield was an old man, probably with dementia. Have you ever considered how foolish all of this sounds?
Have you ever considered that they went to great lengths to silence him?
Obviously they did, and now he's dead, and there's 3 people left in the employ of the temple? What's your next move? I know what mine is. I'm well on my way to where I'd like to be.
So you choose the greater of two evils.
How is this any different? She cranes her neck and looks at you, Ada, and says, how is this any different from the Netheril? You find the Zent distasteful, and that should guide all of your decisions? There's only a handful of people left in the world who can still change the course of history. I intend to do my duty and fight for something that matters.
The end of the world.
Perhaps your world, not mine. By my hand, Cormyr will once again be an independent country.
You think the Zentarum will return Cormyr to an independent nation?
I
They're
do.
the ones who invaded it! Where the fuck have you been the last 15 years?
I know that perhaps unlike you, they are rational. I can understand their motives, something I can't say for you. I have a funny feeling that if I come to them and explain the infiltration that's about to happen, I think that they may be more than willing to negotiate with me.
Talbot gets livid when she says that. He says, oh, go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask a few questions, Taldred?
Oh, he's so red in the face. He says, you take a swing at it. You take a swing at it. Go ahead.
I know. Samantha Ruthenberg, you realize, or rather we all realize, that doing this, you are betraying the people left at the Temple of the Radiant Heart.
The two or three that are left, yes, I am betraying them. Guess what? They betrayed me.
What happened?
She swings her sword in a broad circle. I think it's a bit late for a history lesson. I guess you could talk to Paul if you want to find out what happened at the score.
Doesn't your viewpoint matter more?
I have a funny feeling that this will not be resolved by a battle of viewpoints. So either strike me down where I stand, or let me go.
Talbot
You-
says, one
Sorry.
moment. And he casts Zone of Truth.
You cast Zone of Truth. You surge with power from the Seldarine. Samantha sees this.
He says, I was in Suzail when the Zentarum sieged it. Were you there?
I was up on the walls. I don't remember seeing you.
That's because I was down in the city where all the civilians were trying to flee. Do you know what happened?
Of course I know what happened to my city.
Oh, are you so sure of that? Because I was there. All right, I saw what happened. I actually.
Is this why you cast Zone of Truth, Cleric, so you can tell me of your own exploits? Excuse me, but I could not possibly care any less about what you have done.
I think the truth is important right now.
And I'm telling you the truth. I freely tell you that I am going to seek audience with your enemies.
With the people who besieged Suzail, the people who gave cursed armor to the guards.
It's over. Guess what? What you're talking about happened a decade ago. If you want to fight a battle that's already been lost, feel free. I've moved on. I am going to ask them, negotiate with them for a better future for me and my people. I am not going to get hung up over what the fuck you were doing 10 years ago, Taldred Talton. None of that matters to me.
It's obvious you haven't moved on because you still want a free Cormyr. And the Zentarum will not give you a free Cormyr when they're the ones who enslaved it in the first place.
They occupy it right now, but guess what? There are other people in Suzail just like me. It's not like Arabel, where there's 1, 2, 3 people fighting for something. I have far more resources there, and I have a funny feeling that if I am able to marshal power there, that I can do something a lot more than escort you lot to a fucking portal.
You think that you'll be able to... You think that with the Zentarum occupying the city, you'll be able to rally a revolt right under their noses?
I don't need to rally a revolt. All I need to do is explain to them the calculus of the situation. It's that simple. They would rather have me as an ally than an enemy, a lesson that you could stand to learn once or twice over.
What makes you so special? You can't even follow through on your own oath to Helm.
She grins silently. Apparently what you don't know, Talder Talton, is more than capable of hurting you.
I'm listening. What don't I know, huh?
Taldred, there is no reason for any of this to take place. I know you want me to talk to you. You want me to step into your little zone and give you a bunch of secrets. None of that matters to me. Get the fuck out. Let me go. Let me pass. If you were going to stop me, you would have already done so.
Listen, Samantha. We're gonna fight unless you capitulate in some way. If we kill you, your journey ends. If you kill us, you have nothing to trade to the Zentarum. What is the point of this?
Aye. So don't put a hand on me. It's that simple. Who really has their finger on the sword? Like,
You do. I'm looking at it. You're delusional.
yes, her hands tighten around the hilt of her sword. Why did you come here to hunt me down then?
Because, by your own admission, you're going to betray us.
I've already betrayed you.
Ah, wonderful. So, you think we're the betrayers despite your own admission that you've already betrayed us.
I don't think you're the betrayers. I think your entire mission and everything you're doing is a complete waste of time. I think it is futile. I think it is foolish. And I think that it is a valuable bargaining chip to say, hey, these fools are about to fall into your net. Yes, I have no problem giving you up for a greater purpose. If you were smart, you would have walked away from all of this the second that Smithfield burned.
You're a coward.
Yes, Miss
Say-
Wistenberg, I think you've given up. I think this is your walk of defeat. I thought there was more to you. This is very disappointing, actually, because I was rather hoping that you would have some more fight left in you. That you truly could be the enemy that you claim you could be to these people. But instead, you're going to lay down your arms and join them.
And on this righteous mission of such great import, you didn't take a horse.
She glances at your horses. I've never been much of one to be considered cavalry. Hey, Ada, what the fuck did you just say to me a moment ago? You want to say it again?
Did you not hear me? Should I repeat it for dramatic effect? Come on, Samantha.
Say it
We're all
again.
acting for your ego here.
Say it again. You won't. I know you won't.
What do you mean you know I won't? You know I will. I'm trying... You're looking for us to kill you. You're looking for your blaze of glory. You wanted us to catch you. We did. You're sitting here out in the open. Come on. Let's not fight. This is completely pointless.
Fine. Then let me go.
We're not going to let you go. You know that.
Forbes and Paul Arthraid asked us to see to your safe return.
I won't go with you. It's that simple. So what?
Why do you want to die so badly?
I don't. I think you may be surprised at how this plays out.
I don't want to fight you either.
I'm not scared of you. Are you?
You are scared of the Zentarum.
That gives her pause, Gasmir. She stares you down. So what then?
So, I ask you to find your courage to continue this fight on the side you wish to be on, in your heart.
And you suggest that is with you lot? You all are fighting for something good? In case you haven't noticed, you have a member of the Flaming Fist in your employ. I don't even know what to call these two mercenary leaders, these warlords. Taldred Talton, the Merchant of Death. Brenner Oswick, exiled from every polite society known to man. Cast down by Torm himself. You think
Samantha Brusenberg,
you think
fallen
you're
from no race.
you
We
think
all have flaws.
You would be in good company, Samantha. And this is the first time that Gasmir uses her first name instead of her last name. You've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We are trying to do the one good thing that we can still do. I don't care that you betrayed us, Samantha. Don't betray yourself.
If you're offering terms, let's hear them. I already fought by your side once. It didn't work out.
Come with us. Samantha, you have a death wish, and I understand where it's coming
City
from.
needs you. We do not lie when we say we felled the leader of the Fists. So you could say that Euros is no longer with them because he has betrayed his commanding officer. The city is in a state of disarray. You could do more good there than where you are going currently.
She looks at Euros. Come over here. Stand next to your cleric, your little zone of truth friend.
We'll just hop out of the cart and stand next to him.
Do you serve the Fist?
I serve the ideals. I serve the justice that I believed in, and I still do. What Avery brought, I don't believe in.
She makes eye contact with you, Gastmir, as if to suggest that perhaps there are more holes in your sieve than you're aware of.
But she does not lie when she says that I killed Avery. And I will show her. I'll open my bag and show the armor, the hammer, the ring, the stone, and his neck thing.
To what end? She looks at these objects with a measure of trepidation. Why? And why, excuse me, why is that one standing so far back there? If you're looking to stamp out betrayers, I can't help but notice that this dryad who has been plagued by very real suspicion since the moment anyone has seen her seems to be deliberately standing outside of your little zone. That makes me more than a little suspicious.
It's stab hounds.
If it makes you more comfortable, I will come stand. I have to be invited in. That's how the Fae work.
You should know that she was the most ardent advocate for us reasoning with you and coming to an agreement, rather than simply resorting to violence immediately upon sight.
It's true.
It is true.
Agreement.
Quite annoying about it.
Agreement is an interesting word. Let's hear it.
As I said, I
Agreement.
would like you to assist in trying to bring some manner of calm to the city. There is going to be conflict between the so-called common people and those who welcome the Fist with open arms.
But now the Fist are routed. That much is true. At this point, Brenner's gotten off the cart and entered the circle. But they're going to return, and that
Yes,
city will
this-
fall.
Yes.
And you're suggesting that I travel with you, and you will not kill me in the night, so that I can do, you know full well, my intent when we get to Suzail.
You intend to mount the yoke of Tyranny Fang, shackled under the fist of the Zendarum, to let us all... Yeah, we know.
If the two choices are living under the Flaming Fist or having some semblance of independence and being a vassal to the Zentarim, again, I ask you, how is this different from living under the Netheril?
I'll tell you exactly how it's different. You never considered a third option.
Which is?
You don't live under that. You live under a free Cormyr. The words you let loose from your lip.
And how do you propose we get there?
When Tyranny Fang's in a grave.
She nods slowly.
You have played the double agent before, in a manner of speaking, have you not?
No, I have not. I have never betrayed anybody close to me. I did not lie to Forbes or any of the people that you think are your good friends. Relationships which you have yet to examine carefully, I would imagine.
We've examined them as carefully as possible. I intend to examine you a little bit more. Ada, would you mind produce that which I gave you?
Yeah.
Did you write this? Is this yours?
I produced the dead drop letter. I'll hop off the cart and step into the circle of truth.
She looks at it from a distance. I made 2 of those. One I already gave to Maris. One I buried in a field. I don't know how you found that, but yes, that was written by my hand.
Samantha, we are going to go through that portal and we are going to kill Tyranny Fang. If we're wrong, you can still do your little power play. You can take your home city of Arabel and bend them to the Zent's will. I'm sure there's much information you can still give up. If we're successful, isn't that worth gambling on? What's the downside for you?
She spits on the ground. My home city is not Arabel, it's Suzail. I was born there, you fool. But I see your point nonetheless. You're suggesting that there is a cold calculus to allowing you to go through the portal. And if you're successful, so more the better for me, so you hope. And if you fail, I suppose I anticipated that anyway. She thinks about this for a long moment.
I don't see why Arabel should not be run by Cormyrian loyalists. Like yourself.
I will tell you something, then. I have already made terms to Maris, but I do not think she has had a chance to give that information to the Black Network. Are you traveling to the capital?
Seems we have business there.
Many of you talked at once, but it sounds like affirmation.
Ryder, go ahead.
Are you going to kill me in my sleep if I travel with you?
You have my word that I will ensure you won't. Do you accept becoming my ward?
She raises an eyebrow. A ward? Is that what it's... I won't swear an oath, if that's what you're asking.
You agree to my protection, is my question.
She thinks it over for a long moment. I suppose so. You are more trustworthy. At least I understand your motivations more than some of your companions. I can agree to that.
And you will not attempt to murder any of us in our sleep?
No, I will not.
Was she in the zone of truth?
feel free to take a step closer to her. I think actually you are currently 15 feet away, so she is in the zone of truth.
Okay.
I have no interest in fighting you, Samantha Ruthenberg. I don't even know if we could take you.
You couldn't. You'd like to think that you could, but you couldn't.
I would like to think that we could. But I'd rather have you on our side than fight you either way. Regardless of who wins this pissing fight, we would do better to not kill each other.
Make no mistake, it is simply that our interests are briefly aligned. But I'd rather ride with you than walk, I suppose. If you're
What?
telling the truth about your motivations here and what you plan to do, then you're right. It does not mitigate anything that I'm doing. You
Look
should.
at us. Yes, it's very simple. Our motivations hang out in the wind. They're obvious. They're flagrant. I would be shocked if the Black Network didn't already know we're coming. I would just rather have you briefly aligned with us, regardless of if you like us or not.
It seems that we have reached that point organically. So yes, I find myself aligned with you for now.
Let's move then.
Most excellent. Welcome to the party, Miss Rutherberg.
And for time reasons tonight, I have to cut it here. Next week, good for everybody?
Would be.
Okay, thank you for being understanding. And have tons of fun when the lot of you see each other on Sunday. I'm looking such forward to many of you meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll send pictures.
Please do. Well, that's all I got, and I'd really like to go. So everyone is the best. Thank you so much for playing. See you next week.
See you
See
next
ya.
week,
It was
everybody.
fun. Thank you.
Later.